So we've looked at two models which form the organising principles of healthy and whole. We've looked at the concentric circles diagram and the scale of emotions. And when you put those two together, what you get is the idea of a greenhouse method. Now, my mum is a keen gardener, and she every year fills her greenhouse with seedlings that grow, and sometimes it becomes a complete jungle in there of all the things that she's grown. And the idea of the greenhouse method is really simple. It's creating the environment around us that enables growth and trusting the growth to happen organically. So when my mum puts soil in her greenhouse and waters regularly and keeps a thermometer in there to check that the temperature is not too hot and opens some windows if it is and not too cool, and cares for and tends her plants, all of that is creating the environments for growth. She doesn't actually do any of the growing the plants herself. And in the same way for us, we can't make anything happen. We can't make our bodies be healthy, but we can create the environment for health, the conditions in which health flourishes. And that's exactly what will happen. Our biology is wired for health and balance and growth. And what will happen if we create those conditions, the life will spring up itself. And so I think about really two important ways in which we create these conditions for ourselves. And it's love expressed as first care, looking after ourselves, supplying our needs, maintaining health, balancing stress and eating well, and all those things. We're going to look at a lot of those in much greater detail later on in the course. But the other one is freedom, love expressed as freedom, creating the space and the opportunity and sometimes even the challenge that is needed for us to grow. So that's the greenhouse method. And really, I get inspired a lot by the natural world, and I think quite a lot about how there's so many similarities between organic growth in the natural world and the organic growth that happens in the mind, the heart, the psyche. We need as human beings to have a good measure of humility and trust about this human life. We can't control very much at all. We can't even make growth happen. But we can honour the process. We can trust, as C.S. Lewis calls it, the deeper magic that's at work in our world. That means that bulbs bud each spring, and there will be days when you will wake up just feeling good. That's life being life. And so when we have the humility to trust the process and honour ourselves as human beings, as living organisms with a life force of our own, and we curate the space in which that life force can grow, but we just resign and surrender to the ideas of organic growth and life, then we're going to be surprised by what emerges in that space. So have a look at this idea for a way in which life happens organically. If we take the principle of goodness, of the world being a good place, and we follow through how that life grows in us and through us, we start with source is good. So this is your philosophical, your meta-narrative understanding of where life came from and what it's about. Now there's a load of diversity that everybody watching this video will have about what they put in that box, what they keep in that, I suppose, eye space or that inner circle, your own personal understanding, or again, the worldview you sign up to about where life came from, about the source of life. And I've got loads of ideas on this, but really we just need to know what we think, become aware of what we believe, dig down to find where our principles and our theories about life are grounded, and also continually hold them all up to the light and think, is this really working for me? Is this serving me and the people around me? Is there a way I can up-level this understanding about source, life, and where it came from? And throughout this course, I'm going to use the word source to refer to divine life, or where things came from, the big meta story of the world, because it is a neutral word. And when you take language from religion, it tends to be loaded, and people can sometimes be triggered by words like God. And so when I use the word source, it means any concept, divine being, any idea that you sign up to that works for you in terms of a theory about the meta-narrative, the big story of life. And so we're going to start from the place of source is good. The life force behind you as a person, behind everything you see, is a good, benevolent, loving source. When you start from that place, it's very easy to go to, I am good. I've come from good, and so therefore I am good. And that gives you your sense of identity and self-worth. And you can affirm yourself in every way because you are, in essence, good. Your body is good, your mind is good, your heart is good, your spirit is good. Everything about you, in essence, is good. And then that leads us organically to I do good, which is the idea, of course, of morals or ethics. What do I do in the world? How do I behave? How should we treat one another? How should we organize this life that we have? And if you start from source is good and I am good, the place that you come to is I do good. I'm aiming to do good things. I have great motives. My intentions are all loving and good. And then finally, we come to I expect good. My outlook is positive. I am expecting this to work out well in the end. Yes, there are difficulty, and yes, I get it wrong. But together, if we apply ourselves and if we embrace the expansive way of living, then good things will come in the end. And of course, this is the whole idea of a psychology. And many studies into positive psychology have shown that it is beneficial to brain and body. And so the life flows through us in this way. Source is good, I am good, I do good, and I expect good. And so we're going to start to apply these models and principles to the practicalities of our lives. And in this session, everything that I'm going to share with you in terms of tools and models and things for you to take away is all focused around the idea of vision and how you see your health progressing, how you see your life working out, what you really want for your life. And in order to do that, I'm going to spend some time thinking about the how of thinking, what happens inside your brain. And we're going to come across this idea of your imagination being good. You can trust the things that happen in the space of your imagination because your thinking is in essence good. Yes, of course, it gets twisted and warped, and yes, we make the wrong assumptions, and sometimes our intentions aren't great, but in essence, our thinking is good, and you can trust your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind. So we're going to look a little bit more now at how that all works out.